Not even gonna lie to y'all, it's a very fun industry to be in, but working in college sports, it does take time to get there. I'll go ahead and be honest, right? Internships, connections, networking, moving around a lot. There's so much involved in this field, and that's exactly what I'm going to talk about in this episode. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Mark It Down podcast. I'm your host, Coach Mark. I'm here to talk about the game, talk about games, and talk about everything in between, just giving my perspective as a Division I strength coach and your average everyday sports fan, right? In today's episode, not even going to be looking at the sports fan part. This episode, I'm going to talk about the college strength and conditioning industry, right? Talk about my story, how I got here, talk about some things that are very important, especially if you're a young strength coach or someone who has aspirations to break into this industry. Just going to discuss everything centered around strength and conditioning. First things first, what made me want to become a college level strength coach? And how did I get there? What steps did I take, et cetera, et cetera? Let's get into that. I was an athlete in high school. Played basketball, did track and field, right? Wanted to continue that in college. However, didn't work out that way for me. Cool. Let's figure out the real world. Let's navigate this real world. Let's figure out what I want to do for a career. That whole thing, right? Initially, I majored in computer science because I thought that's what I wanted to do. No, that's not at all what I wanted to do. I eventually changed majors. I thought I was going to take the PT route, which you can still work with athletes and take the PT route. You can, for sure can. However, at the time, I was a terrible student. Not even going to lie to y'all, I was just a bad student. I did not want to take all the classes that came with being a physical therapy major. Did not want to take all the classes for PT school. I didn't want to do that. Did not want to do that, so I decided, okay, what can I do to stay in this exercise science field but not take all those classes? So my major was something called physical activity and health, right? Got all the benefits of being a kinesiology major without dealing with the stress of being a PT student. So took those classes, graduated with my undergrad. Now, where do I go from here? That's where am I going from here? All right. So just going to backtrack just a little bit. I've always wanted to work with athletes in some way, shape, form, capacity, right? With being a former athlete, I felt as if, yeah, I can do that. I can work with athletes. This is a lane that's good for me. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I just thought it would be something cool for me to do, right? Now, at the time, I was heavily inspired by NBA trainer Chris Brickley. Watched everything this man did. So he inspired me to be like, okay, that's where I want to be. I want to get to where he is. How can I do that? Right? Can't be an NBA skills trainer without NBA skills. Pretty important. That's pretty big detail in being an NBA skills trainer. So, okay, I can't be Chris Brickley. He's got all these NBA guys. But I still can work with elite level talent. Just what way now? How do I get there? So it's just, at this point, I'm just figuring out how to get there. But in the meantime, I'm still doing the whole real world thing, trying to find work, job applications, interviews, trying to put my degree to use, that whole thing. All right. So I kind of shifted gears again and was like, all right, maybe I want to do occupational therapy. Kind of put the athlete thing to the side. Let's try to do occupational therapy. Now, what made me shift from PT to OT? Truth be told, I was looking at occupational therapy programs and I was like, oh, these classes don't look that hard. I was trying to take the easy route. Like, just trying to take the easy route with whatever I wanted to do. Finish college, let's take the easy route. OT, let's take the, so I was just trying to take the easy route. That is, do not, and this is for anybody, no matter what field you're in, don't try to take the easy route. Just put in the work and get it over with, right? But I was just trying to take the easy route, plain and simple. That is why I was like, let's do occupational therapy. So I made up some classes for OT schools, which, by the way, I didn't get into a single OT school that I applied for. And I worked at an inpatient physical therapy, occupational therapy hospital because I thought, okay, I want to do OT. But I knew I really didn't want to do OT. Like I said, I was just taking the easy route. I was just trying to convince myself, okay, maybe this is something that I could like. No, 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 not even the slightest, right? So I moved and I became a certified personal trainer. Great first step. I enjoyed being a personal trainer. Really did. Absolutely love being a personal trainer. Still do. Still do. Even now, with me being a D1 strength coach, I still a personal trainer on the side. I enjoy being a personal trainer. I got certified, I got my CPT, right? And I got my bachelor's. So now I feel like I can go be a personal trainer anywhere. So I'm still in fitness, right? I'm enjoying what I do. I'm having fun. But I still want to get to working with college athletes. So it all comes back to, okay, I feel like I'm on the right track with this personal trainer thing. Now, how do I get to working with these athletes? Because at this point, I realized, okay, I'm not going to be an NBA skills trainer, but I can still help these guys in the weight room. I had developed a love for fitness in the weight room, right? So I figured, okay, I can take this love and I can help work with these athletes. So at this point, what I start doing is just looking for jobs in college, but looking for the qualifications, right? Just looking to see, what do I need, right? What do I need? You need a bachelor's? Okay, I have a bachelor's, right? You need something called a CSCS. What is that? I don't have a CSCS. You know, how do I get the CSCS? Now, I knew someone who had a CSCS, a good friend of mine, and he's brought it up to me before, but I never really paid attention to it, right? I thought I was good, personal trainer, cool. So now I see these schools require a CSCS, so now I was like, okay, bachelor's, okay, CSCS, I can get that, right? Oh, master's too? Oh, wow, okay. Now, a master's typically isn't required, depends on what school you're looking at. Most of the time, it's just preferred. Most of the time, it's just preferred. Now, I've seen clips of some directors or strength coaches saying, we're not even looking at you if you don't have a master's. But like I said, that's program by program. Usually a bachelor's, a CSCS, and a few years of experience can get you where you want to go. But for the most part, having a master's wouldn't hurt, right? So I'm looking at all these college jobs and I'm seeing all these things that I don't have, but I could get, right? Biggest thing was the master's. Cool, I can get me a master's. I can go get a master's. I did terrible in my undergrad anyways. A master's for me would not hurt. Having a better looking transcript with a better looking GPA would not hurt me at all. Like I said, in undergrad, I was just taking the easy route. Didn't really know what I was doing. I was just trying to cruise, right? So getting my master's was big. Getting my master's is honestly what got me on this journey. It was really my first big step, right? Let me explain why. For my master's program, I needed an internship in order to graduate. Like, internship wasn't optional. It was either you do a thesis or you get like 300 hours of internship or something like that. I wasn't about to do a thesis. Mainly because I didn't really want to pursue a doctorate, and I still don't want to pursue a doctorate. Plus, one of my professors advised, if you don't want to do a doctorate, do the internship anyway. So, boom, perfect, worked out. Now, in terms of an internship, of course, it has to be related to your major in order for it to count. My major was strength and conditioning, so I'm looking and I'm like, okay, this is perfect. This is perfect. I can start reaching out to these schools. You know, I can start really networking and doing what I need to do and trying to figure, like, really, this is how I can break through. So getting that master's was a huge, huge step. All right. So I started reaching out, emailing colleges, emailing all the colleges in Virginia, emailing colleges in North Carolina, emailing colleges in the DMV, Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland. I'm emailing schools, like anything. Now at this time, I'm also already kind of like shadowing / interning at this private facility where I was working with a lot of baseball players, right? They had pro guys coming through. They had a lot of college athletes, a lot of high school athletes. So I'm already getting the experience in the private sector, which, don't get me wrong, private sector is pretty fun. I enjoyed the private sector. But I was also advised, even by the people who worked at the private sector and the owner, like, nah, yeah, college experience is good. get the college experience. So really started honing in on reaching out and figuring out how to get to these schools, how to get to these colleges. The first college I heard back from, which this was like early in my master's program when I just started just casually reaching out. West Point University up in New York. I told them no simply because like it's in New York. It's in New York. New York's very expensive. These are unpaid internships, so I need something closer, something more affordable, you know. But big shout out to West Point for offering me an internship. Nothing against them. So I just started back heavily reaching out. I'm living in Richmond, Virginia, so I'm reaching out to the University of Richmond, VCU, Virginia State. These are all schools that I can drive to, right? All schools I can drive to. I wasn't thinking about like an hour commute, which I could have reached out a little bit more, but just reaching out to schools, heavily in Virginia, but also a little bit everywhere else. So a lot of schools did not get back to me, truth be told. I didn't hear back from a lot of schools. I didn't. The one school that was consistent with me was Georgetown University. Very grateful for the staff at Georgetown University, which is how I got my start, which is how I got, my first little bit of experience, which is how I got, my first actual paid position. Very, very grateful for Georgetown keeping up consistent communication with me 100%. I can't say how grateful I am. All right, I'm going to pause my story real quick just to go ahead and give my first talking point and get that out the way. Experience and internships are very, very important in this field. There are coaches who have done 2, 3, 4 internships. They've done internships and they've done GA positions. They've done all the smaller unpaid or small paid roles just to get to where they are now, right? Because you need experience. You need some type of internship. You need some type of experience, right? Now, similar to my master's program and my bachelor's program, I also needed an internship. Why didn't I get my experience then? COVID happened. COVID happened. I remember I was in my exercise physiology class and I was talking to one of my professors about an internship. And he told me he can see what we can do about getting me with the Olympic weightlifting team at Auburn. Cool, love it. I don't know anything about Olympic weightlifting at the time, but it's an internship. It sounds fun. I'll be working with athletes. Now, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it because at the time I was only thinking basketball players, but still, internship is an internship, right? So I was like, yeah, cool. Get me connected with whoever you need me to get connected with, all that good stuff, whatever you got to do. And because of COVID, there was a certain limit of how many interns they could take. And guess who didn't get picked? Me. I was not selected. They had already filled up their roster by then, so I wasn't able to get an internship experience with them, right? That could have been a good amount of internship experience, right? But I didn't have that. I was a camp counselor instead. Very fun. Loved it. But I'm not working with college athletes in my bachelor's program. So point is, get you some type of experience, whether that be at a private place or a community college, JUCO, D3, D2. Get you some type of experience working with athletes. That goes a long, long way. That counts as experience. Your internship will count as experience. I've seen jobs where it's like you can have a master's degree with 1 year of experience, or you can have your bachelor's CSCS with about 2 to 3 years of experience. Make sure you have some type of experience on your resume when you apply to these jobs or reach out to these schools. They really do care about experience, and it makes sense. You are working with Division I athletes or pro athletes if that's the route you decide to take, right? You need experience. You need to know how to program when they're out of season, how to develop, right? How to program when they're in season, how to do return to play. There was so much about this industry I didn't learn or didn't know until I got to my internship at Georgetown. I learned so much at Georgetown. So find you an internship, right? Make sure it's a good internship. That's simply for your enjoyment, right? You don't want to go to some place where you don't enjoy it. just to say you were there, right? Make sure you have experience, but also make sure you're enjoying your experiences. You can work for some bad coaches or some bad directors, or you can just have some bad colleagues and you're not going to enjoy your experience. That's with life. That's with any job. 100%. That is with any job. So speaking with this directly with this field, yes, make sure you are with a director who doesn't mind being a mentor. You have colleagues that don't mind helping you. There are other coaches you can actually learn from, right? When you get your experience, make sure you take advantage of it. But don't want to get too deep into that. Just want to knock out that first talking point. Internships, experience of some way, shape, or form on your resume, 100% matters. All right. Just had to get that out of the way. Let's continue with my story. So like I mentioned, Georgetown University was very consistent, very grateful, and I was brought on as an intern, right? Like I just said, for the talking points, make sure you're at an internship where you have great people around you to learn from, and you're going to be enjoying your experience. I enjoyed my experience as an intern. I cannot stress that enough. I really 100% enjoyed my experience, and I was around a lot of people who I could learn from, right? I really took advantage of every opportunity I was given. I was nervous at first, not even gonna lie, because like, this is different, bro. This is new. I don't know what I'm expecting. It was completely different, but enjoyed it, right? Now, I didn't go into this internship with as much open-mindedness as I should have, because it's Georgetown. And like I mentioned, I'm only thinking about basketball. Basketball is what I want to get to. Basketball, 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 basketball. I put myself in a box. I really did. Now, because of Georgetown being a basketball school, their basketball program, they kind of run things differently. So it was going to be a little bit tougher for me to get with basketball. Cool. Just let me work with some college athletes. I'll take it. Just let me, just get the feel of it. And I worked with so many teams and saw football, volleyball, I saw softball, right? I saw a little bit of women's basketball. I didn't see men's, but I saw a little bit of women's basketball. I got to see baseball for a little bit. Got to see men's soccer. Got to see women's soccer, men's lacrosse. I saw so many different sports. Men's tennis, squash, field hockey. I saw a bunch of sports. A bunch of sports. I got a lot of coaching reps as an intern. They trusted me. I remember one of the coaches. He's not at Georgetown anymore. He's in the NBA. Big congrats to him. But I remember I was working with him in volleyball, and I was kind of just like standing there, just watching, because I'm still nervous at the time. And he told me, he was like, "Hey, go coach the freshmen." He didn't tell me what to do. He just said, "Go coach the freshmen." Just threw me out there, right? Just threw me out there, and I did it, and I think I did all right. I'm not gonna sit up here and say, "Oh, I did great and I killed it." No, because I was still nervous, but I think I did all right. But that right there was enough to where it was like, okay, that broke down the wall for me. You have to go get these reps. That gave me some confidence. And from that point on, I kind of hung around the freshmen, coached the freshmen, right? Made sure that they knew what they were doing. They came to me for questions if they did have any questions. So that kind of just opened up the door for me to start being a coach. Right, so I'm getting more confidence, I'm getting more reps. Lacrosse season starts, right? So now I'm watching men's lacrosse, I'm around men's lacrosse. Their head coach, who is also my supervisor and my mentor, he couldn't be there for one lift. Hey, how do you feel about leading men's lacrosse? That's what he asked me. Keep in mind, never led a session before. Yeah, I'm working with the freshmen in volleyball, but I'm not like leading the lift is like, they already have their lift. I've never led a session, never took them through a warm up. I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, yo, I've never led a session before. What, you want me? You want me to lead a session? And one of the other coaches was supposed to be in the room with me. I'll get into that in a little bit. But he was like, you wanna lead men's lacrosse? And I said, yeah. I said yes without even like, yeah, I'll do it. No, for sure. Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just eager. I was just excited, and I was just like, yes, I will lead the men's lacrosse session. No issue. I'll do it. I was so nervous. Like, I'm gonna be in charge of a Division One, and Georgetown's men's lacrosse isn't just your regular Division One men's lacrosse team. These guys have won the Big East at the time of this recording the past 7 years. They have 7 straight Big East titles. This is a legit team, right? This is a legit, high energy, ready to work men's lacrosse. They won the Big East the past 7 years, bro. Like, no, you want me? Me? I was nervous. I was so nervous. Oh my gosh, I was so nervous. But yeah, I said yes, and everyone was giving like, just be confident. Biggest thing, just be confident. Now, my supervisor, who is my mentor, right? He gave me some great advice. He told me if someone were to walk in a room within 5 seconds, they should know who's running the session. They should know who's running the room. That's how much confidence you have to carry yourself with, right? So much confidence you have to have. I did not have that confidence, but when that day came for me to run the session, I did it. And once again, I'm not going to stand up there and say I killed it, but I think I did pretty good. I think I did pretty good. And I can say that confidently because he asked me to do it again. Right? Keep in mind, I'm still an intern. I am still an intern. This is still during the internship. He asked me to run 2 men's lacrosse sessions by myself. And I did. Like, I was nervous both times, but I did it, and I think they both went pretty well. Now, like I said, I'm not going to sit up here and say I killed it, but I think they both went pretty well. Obviously, at the time, there were things I still need to work on. I mean, now there's still things I need to work on. But at the time, it's just like, he was just, hey, just make sure you're having fun, make sure they're having fun, right? So I ran 2 men's lacrosse sessions by myself as an intern. Great. Once again, that wall at this point, I mean, I've ran 2 sessions by myself. The wall's been shattered, right? Like the wall's been shattered. I have a lot more confidence in myself as a coach. So I feel like, okay, I can really do this. Like, I can really do this. I'm excited to continue my journey as a strength coach, right? Internship goes on, internship ends, and they let a coach go and a position opened up in a part-time role, which is the role that I'm in now. My supervisor, he called me back. He called me one day, and he was like, we want you to come back and take this part-time role, right? And I had to think on it, but I said yes, which is how I ended up in D1 sports as an actual paid employee. That was a lot. That's just my story, right? And my story is still being built, right? I'm currently in the part-time role. I have like 5 teams, to myself that I talk to coaches. I write the program for it. Like, I do that. But that is just my story as to how I got there, right? Things that I've experienced so far, I mean, days get busy. Oh, for sure. That even in my part-time role, my Tuesdays and Thursdays are long. That is when I do the most of my coaching. I'm coaching from 8 to 3. I get to the school probably at about 7:30. I don't leave till a little bit after 3, depending on if I work out or not. But the days do get long. Programming for different teams, depending on their needs. Sometimes I'm meeting with coaches, right? And then, of course, I'm coaching all day. For my smaller groups, I don't have to yell as much. I don't really like to yell, but I have a very big group, right? I love my women's rowers. It's just a lot of them. They're a big group. I have to yell a little bit. They take up the whole weight room. So I have to do a lot more yelling, a lot more projecting of my voice. But days get long. No, for sure. Days absolutely can and will get long. There's no, especially if you're just starting out, you're still trying to figure out the flow of things. I'm still a young coach. I don't have it all figured out. I don't. I don't have it all figured out. I know coaches that are still that have been established longer than me, and of course they still have to figure it out, especially the ones that move around a lot, right? I'm still figuring it out, but I have a lot of confidence in myself. As a coach, confidence is key. But days get long, and it can get very repetitive. It can. You program, you see the same teams, and on the same. It can get very repetitive, you know. But I love it. I love what I do. There's no question about it. I love working in college athletics. Yes, the days get long. Yes, it can be a bit repetitive. I don't really like to yell. Like it gets tired. There are days where I'm very, very tired. I don't want to talk. I don't want to text. I don't want to FaceTime. Don't call me. Like I just want to get in the bed and lay down. Right? I have days. I have weeks like that. But it's worth it. It's worth it. From where I'm going with this, it is worth it. It is 100% worth it. A lot of people may call me crazy for things like that. Cool. I love what I do, so I am 100% okay with where I am at now with this. No hesitation. I wouldn't trade it. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't. I would not trade what I do for anything. Yeah, the days get long, but there are some good that comes with it. Number one, I'm getting paid experience. Like I mentioned earlier in the very first talking point, which I have some more that I'm going to make. But with that first one, internships and experience are very, very important to a lot of these schools. So with me having an internship that directly led me into a paid role, that's huge. So experience, boom, right there. Experience, I'm getting that. Lots of it. Lots of coaching reps. Lots of programming. Really getting the only thing I'm missing, I haven't traveled. I hope I can travel some, but I haven't gotten the travel part of it, so that's the one thing I haven't experienced. But I've definitely seen more now as an actual coach than I have as an intern. Right? With the internship, it was just have fun, make sure you enjoy it, make sure you learn a little bit. Now, it's still, of course, learn and have fun, but we're programming now. We're coaching now. We're building good coaching habits. We're building programming habits. Like we're meeting with coaches. We're learning to actually be a coach. It's not just, go out there and have fun. No. Now you still want the athletes to enjoy their workout. For sure, you want it to be a fun environment. You really, really do. You want them to enjoy their workout. But I still got to learn. I still got to take it serious, so. But getting experience is key. This part-time role also puts me in the position to get another certification called the SCCC, Now, the SCCC differs a little bit from the CSCS. It's more niche, right? The SCCC. If you want to stay in college sports or go pro, the SCCC, it's a lot of S's and C's, I'm sorry. The SCCC is like key for you, right? You have a exam to take, a written exam and a practical exam, but it is niche. It's very niche and very specific towards college and pro. So if you want to take the college and pro route, that's a very good certification to have. Since I'm on the topic of certifications and all that stuff, let's go ahead and get into another talking point that I wanted to discuss, qualifications, right? All the initials by the name, all the degrees, all the certifications. What are some things that schools look at, private sectors look at in order to consider you to be hired, right? That really depends on which route you want to take, right? If you want to go private, case by case. The private place that I shadowed and interned at, you really just needed a bachelor's and any type of certification. So I was a certified personal trainer, which is what got me there. Obviously, CSCS, SCCC, any type of certification, you're good there, right? But you also had to have a bachelor's, right? Now, in order for me to get this part-time role at Georgetown, I needed my CSCS. I already had my bachelor's. I was working on my master's. I did not have the CSCS certification. That is what I was missing, right? That's what I was missing. That's what I needed. That's what I had to get in order to come into this paid role, have teams of my own, write programs, all the fun stuff, right? I needed a CSCS. And for the most part, most schools, really the minimum is a bachelor's and a CSCS, right? Not even talking about the experience part, just strictly qualifications. Bachelor's, CSCS, that's like the minimum for most places. Now, if you want to go pro, you may need that SCCC certification. Some bigger name schools, right? They may not require it, but they'll probably consider somebody with the master's and the SCCC over somebody with a bachelor's and a CSCS, right? So it does kind of depend on what level you want to get to, where you want to be. Like I said, a private place may require a lot less. A bigger name school or a pro team may not put it as a requirement, but they may highly prefer higher education, higher certification, right? So it really just depends. It really just depends on where you want to go. Like for me, I have bachelor's, master's, CSCS, and with this paid opportunity with Georgetown, giving me the opportunity to get the SCCC. So I have all that, be able to put all that next to my name and put all that on my resume, right? Another certification that a lot of college strength coaches get is the USA Weightlifting Level 1. That is one that allows you to teach certain movements like a power clean, snatches, all the Olympic movements, stuff you'll see Olympic athletes do. You can teach that. Now, you don't need that to teach a power clean. I can teach a power clean. I can teach a hang snatch. But having that USA Weightlifting Level 1, you're a lot more proficient at teaching these movements. These are very technical movements, so I wouldn't tell anybody not to get that certification. Especially if you want to work with football, like cleans and snatches, mostly cleans with football. Yeah. Get a USA Weightlifting Level 1, nothing wrong with that, right? But the more you have, that doesn't make you any better, because like I said earlier, experience is really heavy, right? But if you have a good mix of experience along with a whole lot of initials next to your name, you'll get some looks. It won't guarantee anything. But you will for sure get some looks because, okay, they know what they're doing. They know how to teach. They know the science. They're safe in the weight room. They have their education. And, okay, they got some experience here. They got a year here. They got 3 years here. Like I mentioned earlier, I've seen jobs where it's like you can have a bachelor's and a CSCS with 3 years or a master's with 1 year, right? But it all goes back to where you want to go with this strength and conditioning thing. Make sure you understand your why. Let's segue into that for a little bit. Make sure you understand why you're doing this, right? Why do you want to work with D1? Why do you want to work private? Why do you want to work high school? Why do you want to go to a Power 4? Like, understand why you're doing what you're doing. I had a mentor of mine. We had a very, very real phone conversation, and it helped me put a lot of things in the perspective. Understand what you're getting into. Understand why you want to get into it. Because it is a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot involved. I've been blessed enough to where my one internship got me an immediate paid role, and I have a great mentor with a lot of connections. So I won't have to do 3, 4, 5 internships in a GA. I can intern, payroll, bigger payroll, and keep growing from that. Very, very blessed and grateful. There's nothing wrong with doing 4 or 5 internship, especially if you start in undergrad, right? There's nothing wrong with taking that path. But just with my situation, I'm very grateful that that's a path that I don't have to take, right? So understand why you're doing this, because it does come with a lot. There's a lot of commitment, and a lot of people do leave the field just because it's tough. You may have to do a lot of traveling. You may have to do a lot of bouncing around. There are so many coaches that go from state to state to state to state. One of them, another mentor of mine, he's been East Coast, West Coast, back to the East Coast. So like it is a lot. It can get to be a lot. Understand why. Understand why. Why are you doing this? Why are you getting into this field? What is it about this field that is attracting you? And why do you want to do it? Why do you want to stay in the long term? Do you want to stay in it long term? My ultimate goal, I want to own my own facility, but I want to stay in college for as long as possible. I might consider doing a quick stint in the pros if that opportunity presents itself, and if I find it to be a good role, yes. But ultimately, I want to own my own facility. Going through college just helps me with having a network of people, building a network of athletes. That's just me though. Understand your own personal why. Huge in anything, but for sure huge in this, because it's so much time and commitment. A lot of people will leave because like relationships, they don't want to do a lot of traveling, right? It is a lot. There's a lot. Now, of course, like I said, it goes back to internships. If you get a great internship where you can actually learn, of course you got to be willing to learn, but learn, grow, take criticism, and you have a great mentor, this process may be cut a little bit for you. It may be cut a little bit for you. Like I mentioned, I have a great mentor. He's very well connected. That could cut my process down some. Having him on my resume, having other coaches that are pretty well known on my resume, the experience I've gotten with the internship, the amount that I've done with my internship, going into this part-time role, next full-time role I'm looking for, like, that helps, right? Having a great mentor, very, very, very important, right? Make sure you have good people. And they don't have to be some big name strength coach. They don't have to be some big name, well-known, they don't have to be that. But somebody who is willing to help you. As long as you do your part, they're going to do their part. That is the only thing that matters. As long as they're willing to help you learn and help you grow and put you in situations where you're going to be better, that is the only thing that matters. Right? You can go to a small school and find an amazing mentor. You don't have to jump straight to D1 or try to jump to pros. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that, but you just need somebody who take you under their wing, teach you, allow you to learn, allow you to make mistakes, right? Put you in situations where you're going to have to learn to be a coach. I've been thrown in a fire plenty of times, but that's the best way to learn in this field. They just threw me out there. Go coach the freshman volleyball players. Lead my lacrosse session. Lead this lacrosse session. Go work with tennis. Go work with squash. Hey, go get some, like, just throwing you out there and just letting you figure it out. I've been put in that situation. I've been put in that situation. It's not fun, but you get used to it, But having a great mentor is very, very, very important. Very important. I've heard stories. One of my colleagues now at Georgetown, he told me he's worked for some strength coaches that made him not love the job. And I would never want to be put in that situation. So the mentor I have now, I'm so grateful to have. And all I can do is just hope and pray he continues to put me in positions to be great. If you're a young coach just like me, that is key. Having a good mentor, having someone who you have access to, someone who's willing to answer all your questions. Don't be scared to ask questions either, but having someone who's willing to answer all your questions. Someone who will let you go do your thing, right? Someone who will let you go and do your thing. And of course, they'll reel you back in, but you have to be able to take criticism too. They'll tell you, hey, let's not do this. Let's not do this. Let's not do that. Let's take this approach. Right? Your situation, like who you're surrounded with, like all of that in this journey is very important. A lot of jobs typically do come just from knowing somebody. Knowing somebody, you know the right person, and that person knows somebody. Right? It's really crazy the amount of like jobs that are probably out there, but they're already filled simply because the director just knows somebody. I got my part-time position just because I was an intern. They already knew me. Imagine someone else wanting that role because they think it would be good for them, but I already have it. I already have it because they know me. They took a chance on me as an intern, and they liked me enough to where I was like, yeah, we'll bring them back. We'll bring them back. I was once told you can teach somebody to be a good coach. You can teach. You can't teach just personality. You can teach somebody how to be a coach. So whenever you are in your internships, do a good job. Like I said, be willing to learn. Ask questions. Take criticism. Ask for feedback. I'm always asking for feedback. Whenever there's somebody who is on the floor or just watching while I coach, I'm always asking, hey, how did that look? Hey, you got any feedback for me? Hey, you got any tips? Like, I'm constantly asking questions about how I did, things I can improve on, because I want to continue to be a great coach. You have to be willing to do that. If you do multiple internships, understand it may be different. You may have interned at one school and then interned at another school, and it's completely different. So be willing. You have to be open-minded as an intern. You have to be open-minded as a coach. There's so much, and I could yap on and on and on about things I've learned and about things that are involved in being a strength coach in general. There's so much. There's so much, and I'll probably have to do another part to this episode because there is just that much that I've learned and just realized, just simply from like a year's worth of, not even a full year, but the amount of experience I've gotten just from my internship up until now, and then even more as I continue to grow in this field. There's so much. There's so much I'm gonna continue to learn, right? I definitely encourage all young strength coaches out there, continue to learn, continue to be open-minded. Understand, one of the things I had to learn real quick, you can't coach everybody the same. You can try. you definitely can try. Some teams don't take well to hard coaching. And of course it's easy, but oh, I don't care. I'm the coach. Listen, one of the biggest things that I learned, the biggest, and I mean the biggest, and I say it's the biggest because I heard it a lot. Get the athletes to like you. That'll be my last talking point because I've been yapping a lot. This will be my last talking point. If you go as an intern or your first part-time role, whatever, be a good person. Get your athletes to like you. That is so important. Because one thing I was told, you can have the world's greatest program. You need your athletes to buy into it. They have to buy into you in order to buy into your program. I learned real quick. Like I said, I have 5 teams. I have teams that I do coach hard, and I have teams where I'm a little bit more laid back. You have to be able to reach your athletes, right? You have to be. I was given the squash team simply because they like having me around. That's just simple. Like, as an intern, my mentor was like, they seem to like you. Yeah, I'll give you squash. They just simply because they like you. Right? That boom, that's one team right there, just because they get the athletes to like you. Now don't stress over it. Still be a coach, but like, do what you gotta do to break through somehow, some way. I have all my teams make a playlist. Cool, I'm gonna play your music. You're gonna want to be in here if you know whatever you like to listen to is being played. For sure, that's easy. Some of my teams, they don't really care about the music. They come to work. That does not bother me at all. But then there's some they have a certain vibe about them. Okay, cool. I'm perfectly fine with that. Get the athletes on your side, and it'll make coaching so much easier. It will. It'll make it so much easier. They'll buy into the program. They'll buy into the way you coach. No matter how you coach them, they'll understand it's coming from a good place. But also, like I said, going back to open-mindedness, understand you cannot be a hard-ass coach on every single team. I know coaches that are, and they, it works for them. Me personally, I'm not going to take that route. I'm not going to take that route. That's just not me. I can be if I have to be, but that's just not me. I don't feel like doing all that. Right? So just those few talking points I wanted to get into: internship and experience, qualification, get the teams to like you, having a good mentor, right? And there's so much more that I could really get into. But I think this is a good point to end this episode, right? I do appreciate you guys for tuning into this episode of the Mark It Down podcast. It's been a pleasure. I've been your host, Coach Mark, here to talk about the game, talk about games, everything in between. And I know today was more S&C focused. Next episode, we'll be talking a lot about the game for sure. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in with me, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.